Hey guys, Xavier here with the Feeder Matrix review, and just gonna go ahead and break down how is it that somebody's gonna tell you they can take $1.75 and make $99,447. How is that possible? Many of you are like, what the heck? That's incredible, or that's just stupid. It don't make no sense. Well, let's go ahead and look at it. All right. The pay plan, the way it goes is basically you buy a digital product, okay, from the person who's referring you to the feeder matrix, okay. Those digital products, if you're in a business, which if you're starting the feeder matrix and this is the very first business you've done online, you are in business for yourself. So you are now a home-based business owner. So therefore, you have all the advantages that are available to you wherever you live. Okay, so if you live in the United States, those tax benefits are pretty good. Okay, so that $1.75 is probably not even the cost of a good pen, not even a cheap pen. Okay, so therefore you have $1.75. You're going to get a bunch of digital products, which is pretty much similar to an ebook that you would watch on your Kindle, okay, or on your iPad. All right, so now you're going to take that $1.75. You're going to pay the person that it instructs you to pay. You're going to get your digital products. Now you have to now share it with 4 people. When you do, you're going to quadruple your $1.75 to $7 because now since you own those digital products, in essence, it's almost as if you're reselling it to them. Although you don't have to actually share it with them, they get it from the site once they have proven that they've paid you by submitting a transaction number from either PayPal, Solid Trust Pay, or from Payza. And there's 2 other ones, but those are the 3 most popular ones. Therefore, what's going to happen now is that you're going to help those 4 get 4. So basically, it's the basic 4x4 matrix where you have 4, you have 16 on your second, and then you have 64 on your third, and you have 256 on your 4th level. Okay, so these are the 4 levels. Now, they do have 2 stages, which is how they're able to go ahead and say $99,447. So if you were to add up each one of these totals, it's going to give you $99,447. However, okay, it is a matrix, so therefore you have to fill it. Now, to fill this, all right, if you add up 4, 16, 64, and 256, that'll give you 340. All right, 340. So it takes 340 people to fill your matrix. All right, now granted, there's going to be people that you're going to get in your first and second and even 4th tier. They're going to go ahead and continue building their matrix. Now remember, every person is the beginning of their own matrix. So therefore, you want to fill your matrix. So anybody that you bring in past the 4 people are just going to fall in line below the people that you've brought in. Okay. Now, of course, this is a joint effort, so everybody goes ahead and actually shares it with 4 people. Everybody's goal is to share this opportunity, okay, if you will, all right, with 4 of their friends. Okay, and if they do more, then it'll just go ahead and fill in the gaps where maybe someone's not doing nothing. Okay, because let's be honest, it's $1.75. Not everybody's gonna treat it like a $99,000 or $100,000 business. They're gonna treat it. Some of them are gonna treat it like they didn't spend nothing on it. All right, and let's face it, $1.75 is not even the price, like I said, of a good pen. Okay, so here we got in your first tier, you're making your $7. I don't know where you could take $1.75 and quadruple it. All right, unless you go into the casino. All right, and you're playing the slots. All right, so second tier, you're making $80. And how is this possible? Well, out of the $7 that you're making in your first tier, remember from the 4 friends that gave you $1.75 to get their digital products, now you're taking 5 of that 7 and buying your next product. Okay, so you're taking from the profits. Now, you do not have to wait to go ahead and move up and buy the different products. There's people that will come in here, and as long as their payments are confirmed by the person who they're paying, okay, because each payment has to be confirmed by the person that's paying in the way of a transaction. You basically copy the transaction number from your either PayPal, Solid Trust, or Payza, and then you submit it through the back office. Once they do that, they alert the person that you've paid, and they go to the back office and they confirm the payment. Okay, this is how we make sure everything stays on the up and up and everybody's getting paid. Okay, now this is instant. So just as quick as you get paid through your payment processors, whichever ones you use, which I definitely suggest using all three of those ones that I mentioned, all right, you are now putting yourself in a position where you could get payments from everybody that's in your matrix. Okay, so from your second tier people, you're going to get $5. Now, 5 times 16 is going to give you $80. All right, so now you've made $87 from $1.75. Of that 80, you're going to take 10 of it, okay, which in essence, you could just take pretty much 10, the 20, and the 40 and get yourself all the way up to level 5, okay? But let's just say you just take it 10, okay? So now you take 10, you're left with $70 in profit plus the $2 from the first, okay? Now you take that $10 and you buy your third product, your level 3, okay? Now you go ahead and fill your whole third tier, all right? Remember, in your third tier, you have 64 people, okay? Because remember, the 16 got their 4, okay? So that's $640. Now, of that $640, you just want to take 20. So you're going to pocket 620, okay? Plus the remaining the remaining $72, okay? So if you're pocketing that, okay, that's over $700 that you're pocketing, all right, in profits, okay? And you're just taking $20 of that new $640 that you just made, and now you're going to buy your fourth level product, all right? Now remember, all these products are meant to better your online business, all right? So if you live in the United States or somewhere where it is a tax deduction, if unless you live in a different country, and this is international, so if you're listening to this, you would definitely want to check with your with your code or your city or state or country, all right, what have you. All right, so that $20 product, fourth tier, is going to now total $5,120. That is insane, I know, but it is. It is what it is. It's math, right? Because you're filling up the 256 spots. Now remember, you personally are not doing this alone, okay? Keep in mind that you have 64 people that each have one thing in common with the people above them and the people above them, okay? Each person is just meant to just bring 4 friends. That's it. Everybody's just 4 bringing 4 in. That's it. There's nothing more. Now, if you, like I said, if you do more, then you're going to probably fill in the gaps of the people who didn't do much. Okay, so let's add that up. That's pretty incredible. All right, you just made $5,120 on top of the $730 you just pocketed. Okay, so now let's just say you want to just pocket. You don't want to go ahead and use that whole 5,000. You want to go on vacation. Okay, so you just take $40 of that. All right. You just take $40 out of that what you just made. Okay. Now, of course, I think most people, if they've made that much, they're gonna go all the way to the 8th level. Okay, it's pretty safe to say. All right. Now, remember, the people that come into this matrix, there's no telling on how fast they want to go ahead and get their levels. So therefore, you want to keep an eye on your back office and see if somebody's going ahead and buying the products back to back. If they are, then you want to try to stay ahead of them so this way you don't miss a payment. If you do, basically what the website does, the admin actually sends automatically an email to you and lets you know that you had just passed up a payment because you was not at the right level. So therefore, if you're not on the, let's say, 5th level and someone pays $40, okay, instead of it going to you, it's going to go to the next person above you who's qualified to receive that payment. Okay, so basically, if you don't own the product, you can't sell the product. Okay, and remember, you're not selling it, you're not going door to door, you're not doing anything. It is just an automatic thing. The downloads are on in the back office. The people can just download them as they come in and after they've paid. Okay, so should we even go through should we even go through stage 2? I mean, it is insane. It's $40. The same 4 people who gave you the $1.75 are going to give you $40 each in order to get to their 5th level. Okay, that's going to give you a total of $160. Okay, all the figures I'm talking about is right here. Okay, and then you're going to go to your second tier. Remember, your second tier people are the same people who gave you the $5. They're going to give you $80 in order to reach to the 6th level. Okay, so basically they're paying for products that you've paid for. Okay, so they could be at that level, so therefore the people that they've brought in can now pay them to get to that level as well. Okay, so remember, we are all buying products that we have purchased, okay? And it's just like reselling it, except we don't have to actually physically go and deliver any products, okay? So now in the third tier, and which is actually the seventh, all right, you're gonna be paying, they're gonna be paying you $160 to get to this, okay? Once they've paid you $160, you're gonna be coming away with $10,240. Remember, this is the same people that paid you $10 back on the third level. Okay, so these are all levels. These are all the different products. So the first 4 stages is your first 4 products, and then the second stage is going to be your last 4. It's going to be your 6, 7. It's going to be your 5, 6, 7, and 8. Okay, so in the very last product is going to be $320. Okay, and that's the big doozy. That's where the bulk of the money is going to come out. So when you say, well, the 99,000 X, we're not close. This is where it is. This is where it happens. Okay, because remember those 256 people that gave you $20? And you made 5,120 up here in the 4th tier on stage 1. Okay, remember stage 1, there's 2 stages. Okay, those same 256 people, you think if they've made this much, you don't think they're going to go all in and get all the products? I believe so. So therefore, what's going to happen is each one of them are going to pay to get the 8th level. That's $320. And guess what? $81,920. Now, if we go ahead and take out the handy dandy calculator, okay, and we're just going to go ahead and add that up real quick. Okay, 7, okay, plus 80, okay, plus $640, plus 5,120, plus 160, plus 1,280, plus $10,240 in the 7th, and then 81,920, and that gives you, my friends, I hope you can see this, $99,447. Okay, and there it is. That's how it breaks down, and that's how this little $1.75 can accumulate to a whopping $99,447. Just wanted to break it down real quick, show you, just numbers don't lie. Okay, people might, but numbers don't lie. All right, so if you're interested in getting more information on getting on our team build, go ahead and click the link in the About section, and let's get you started on your road to $99,447. And guess what? All you have to determine is your why. And what will you do with $99,447? Okay, because that's what's going to drive you to make sure you get your 4 and that you help those 4 get their 4. All right, guys, this is the end of this video, and we'll look forward to seeing you in the inside.